I'm Leslie Sabraco. For the past 17 years, I've been the host of an Emmy Award-winning restaurant show and a national travel and food show, both on PBS. Now, over the years, I've indulged in my fair share of delicious dairy-centric dishes, and I'm excited for today's treats. Welcome to the cook-off finals of the inaugural 2022 Cal-Mex Invitational, brought to you by the California Milk Advisory Board on behalf of California's dairy farm families. Now, we're at the Culinary Institute of America's Copia facility in Napa, California. It's the ideal location to show off the latest innovations in dishes combining the best of California and Mexican cuisines. One of the growing culinary trends in recent years centers on crafting innovative dishes by marrying global foods and ingredients. Cal-Mex is the perfect expression of California ingredients and Mexican flavors and traditions. As the #1 dairy state, California's bounty of dairy products plays a huge role in the back of the house. Today, our 6 chefs are showcasing California's Hispanic-style cheese and dairy products as they prepare original, innovative Cal-Mex dishes to compete in this inaugural competition. Now, first, a little background on how we got here. The California Milk Advisory Board invited 12 chefs from across the country to submit recipes in 3 categories, and our esteemed panel of judges selected the top 2 entries in each category. At stake is over $20,000 in prize money and, of course, the prestige of winning the first ever Cal-Mex Invitational event. The 3 champions will each be awarded $5,000, and the runners-up will each get $1,500. Today, we're broadcasting 3 separate head-to-head events in categories covering 3 key food service day parts: appetizers, entrees, and desserts. We just finished 2 exciting cook-offs, first in the appetizer category, followed by entree dishes. We're now ready to show you the finals of the dessert category, and I see our 2 chefs are busy preparing their recipes. After making their dishes, they'll present each dessert to the judges for evaluation. We'll then announce the winner and award prize money in the category. Before we meet our 2 Cal-Mex dessert contestants, I'd like to introduce you to Bob Carroll, Vice President of Business Development for the California Milk Advisory Board. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Leslie. How are you?
All right, 2 exciting competitions down. We've got our 3rd desserts ready to go.
Very excited about this last one, too.
It's going to be good. All right, tell us a little bit about the mission of the CMAB.
Sure. Our mission is very simple. It's to increase demand for all dairy products that use real California milk, carry the real California milk seal.
And how does the CMAB support California's dairy farms and families?
So we really provide a lot of connections across the industry, helping to bring together processors and ideas and customers. And then we also tell stories. We do a lot of marketing. Really, we want to tell the story of the sustainable dairy products from California and help consumers get a chance to try some of these awesome products.
Well, and that's probably the inspiration for how you got this idea for Cal-Mex Invitational, right? To really showcase these products.
It is. You know, we look at trends across consumers, across restaurants, across different industries, and this idea of the marriage between California dairy and the wonderful bounty of other California products in the Hispanic and Mexican food world really made Cal-Mex a natural fit for us.
That's right, and food service is incredibly important to CMAB, isn't it?
It is. So food service is about 1/3 of our total volume, which is very significant for the dairy farmers, obviously, in California.
And what does everybody involved with CMAB get by doing events like this? Is it awareness? Is it education? Is it all of the above?
Yeah, I mean, it's really all the above. I mean, we want to help connect these wonderful chefs with these dairy products, and we really, in the end, want consumers to learn about the wonderful new products, new ideas, new combination of flavors like Cal-Mex.
All right, are we ready to get to desserts?
We're ready.
We're ready to get to desserts. Okay, thank you, Bob. For this category, our chefs were asked to focus on creating innovative dairy-centric Chemex desserts, providing a sweet and decadent finish to our competition. Now, our two finalists in the dessert category are Manny Barea of Denver, Colorado, and Marco Colin from Chicago, Illinois. All right, we're first going to hear from Manny, who is preparing. Hello, Manny, where are you? Here we go. Do we have a microphone for Manny? There we go. Hello, Chef.
Hi, how are you?
All right. Manny is preparing his Carlotta di Limon dessert made with California requesón cheese. And Manny, I'm just going to brag about you a little bit here before I ask you questions. He is the executive chef and partner at Bellota in Denver, right? I'm a Denver girl, born and raised. He was previously at a highly acclaimed restaurant in Sea Island, Georgia. And of course, in Napa Valley, you have worked with Calistoga Ranch and Solage Resort. And last year, big drum roll here, a James Beard semifinalist in the Emerging Chef category. Well, welcome. Are you excited to be here?
Yeah, it's been a hell of a year.
That's a good year, and it's a good cast.
It's been a great year.
So tell me a little bit about how you got into being a chef.
Oh my God, that's a long story, but I'll try to make it short.
I'll wrap you up. Don't worry if we don't.
I went to law school first, and and I dropped out in order to go and cook for a living. It was more about eating and learning how to eat the dishes that I wanted, and eventually just put me on the right path and met the right people and the right mentors, and here I am now.
You're kidding. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Are you happy
change.
you're not an attorney?
Yes, I'm very happy. Yeah, I get to eat very good food every day.
And what was the inspiration for your dessert? Tell us a little bit about this dessert and what your inspiration was.
So the Carlotta de Limon is a very traditional dessert. I grew up with it. It was the very first thing I ever did in the kitchen when I was 15 years old. On this one, we do a little bit of a twist on it because first of all, I turn the requesón into mascarpone, and I add also coffee to the condensed milk with the lime. So it's a mixture between the Carlotta de Limon and a tiramisu. Just because I immersed myself in Italian cuisine for a while, and I was like, this is a good opportunity to bring both cultures together in one dessert. And I was drinking coffee and eating the Carlotta, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, that
works together.
Yeah.
And we're really talking with these cheeses. How important are these cheeses to your cooking and to innovating with dishes?
Well, in a lot of the dishes at the restaurant, we apply Mexican cheese on them. It's something that I grew up with. It was very, very common to have a plethora of cheeses in my household. So for me, as opposed to in other houses where like it's something that you have to think, I'm gonna get this. In mine, it was always available in different like panela or cotija or Chihuahua cheese. There was always some sort of cheese in my house growing up.
And you've integrated it into your cooking and what you do now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love it.
All right. And what do you hope the judges will see in your dish?
I hope that it resonates with them and their Mexican heritage. You know, it's such a traditional dish. It's super simple, it's super light, but I hope that it just gives them I said looking for the nod when somebody tries something and
that was good.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
Well, good luck, Chef.
Thank
good
you.
luck. All right. Now we are going to our competitor, our second chef. Thank you for handing that off. Marco Collin, and you are based in Chicago, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Again, I talked about Denver, but I did grow up, spend a lot of time in Chicago. And you are the executive chef at La Luna.
Correct.
And you've worked at another very famous restaurants in the Windy City, including The Publican, Alinea, and Soho House.
Yes.
Pretty nice pedigree there.
Thank you.
And you're making a dish called winter corn.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about, well, first tell us, how did you get into becoming a chef? We've got the story of a former lawyer, right, or lawyer to be.
I grew up in the kitchen my grandmother and my family, it runs in the family since day one. I've been in the kitchen, running in the kitchen, not wanting to be outside the kitchen. Like I always was in the kitchen. So it runs in my DNA, you know, like that's what I do. That's how I grew up. So
you never deviated wanting to do something else and then coming back to it?
No, it's always been related with food, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's always been something that I'm really passionate about and I really enjoy doing. I mean, look me, I love food, you know, like that's what I do.
Well, tell us about your dish. What are you making?
So I'm making a pan de elote, winter corn. It's a really traditional bread, but I did a twist. I love flan. So I did like a flan with a pan de elote twist, and then I did queso fresco ice cream.
Oh, an ice cream.
I was kind of like annoyed with like the regular cheesecake ice cream, North Car feelings. I love them, but like I wanted something different. I wanted something new, and I grew up eating queso fresco, really fresh. It was always in my home, you know. My grandmother, my mom, my dad making fresh cheese at home was amazing, you know. That's all we had, like even just beans and rice and salsa, and queso fresco was like, that was the perfect meal for me, yeah.
So these cheeses now, these Mexican-style cheeses from California are playing a role in your cooking.
Oh yeah, I think it's amazing of what's going on, and it's wonderful.
All right, well, desserts. I love that we're doing these desserts. So what do you hope the judges are going to tag in your dish?
I hope it reminds them of home and bring them child memories, because it's a really like universal kind of like dessert, flan, and then pan de elote, and then ice cream. But I want them also to like enjoy it and be like, oh, this is different and this is good.
All right, well, we're ready to get going and let the chefs prepare their dishes. And I'm going to head over and we'll meet the 3 judges that will be evaluating these dishes and selecting the winner. All right. Okay, everybody, are you ready? Oh, yes. Desserts, our final category of the day. We've had terrific fun with the appetizer course and category and the entrees, and now this is the finish to it all. All right, so let's meet our judges. Our first judge here is Claudette Zepada, and she achieved national acclaim as executive chef of El Jardin in San Diego. She currently oversees and basically creates the vision for Vaga restaurant in Encinitas, and she also competed on Top Chef Mexico, and Netflix Iron Chef Quest for an Iron Legend, which I believe you won.
Allegedly, yes.
Allegedly, you are a legend.
That's
apparently.
right.
All right, so, and you're a long-time San Diegan, right? Give us a
Yes.
little bit of your background.
Well, I was born in San Diego, raised in Tijuana and Guadalajara, and I was one of those latchkey kids that crossed the border every single day for school, and I think that it has influenced in the way I cook so much. I didn't ever think about it until the last few years. Seeing so many different faces made me a better chef. So seeing so many different languages and foods, and that's why I named my restaurant Vaga, which is a derivative of vagabond. The wind turns and I want to have an adventure. I seek to learn about humans and how they eat. So 22 years later, I am still a student of life.
And you're still passionate about it.
Incredibly.
And what do these cheeses represent to you? Because these Mexican-style cheeses that are coming now from California are really playing a role not just in Mexican-influenced cuisine, but many different cuisine types,
That's
right?
right. Yeah. Well, what people fail to understand is that Mexican cheeses are really cheeses of the world, because we received the style, the techniques, and the process from immigrants into Mexico, and then we gave it our flair as we do as Mexicans. I mean, I'm not extrovert by accident, and that it helped give us an identity. Food is an identity of whatever culture you're at, and these cheeses represent in Mexico, because Mexico's 7 regions have such different humans in it. The cheeses also represent those. Some are salty, briny. It's like wine, right? You go to Valle de Guadalupe, it's spicy. It is hearty wine, like the people there.
Yeah.
Cheeses are the same. Cotija and Michoacan, those are like indigenous hearty people. Quesillo from Oaxaca, they just want to love on you. It's melty, it's gooey. So yeah, the cheeses from Mexico, it's our identity.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that comparison, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to hand the microphone down to our next judge, Ben Diaz. And Ben is another Californian. He has served as the executive chef at some of Southern California's best hotels and restaurants. He's also an author, and oversees the culinary offerings at Leoness Cellars, and is the Chief Culinary Officer at CBD Cuisine Consulting, which sounds fascinating, and I want to get a little bit more information on that later. So Ben, let's get a little piece of your story. Give me a little background of how you got into this business.
Well, you know, my father was a chef for many years. His dad was a butcher. My family has roots in Guadalajara, Mexico, Quetzaltenango, Guatemala. So being a product of immigrants as well, you know, influenced my life tremendously. Especially, you know, Southern California is a complete mess of different people.
Whoops, we're switching out
different
microphones.
So for me, growing up in that's my lifestyle. I like blending different types of cuisines and showcasing what I learned and what I grew up with. And doing that through cuisine is amazing because I get to share my stories with other people. And for me, that's a big win.
Right, and so these cheeses certainly, you know, harken back to your youth, but also what do they represent in terms of the future of cuisine here in California?
Well, we're taking a lot of traditions, just as Claudette said, you know, was very influenced by immigrants, and now we're taking that tradition that we grew up with and showcasing it, you know, to the masses, which is amazing because now you get to taste a little bit of our culture, a little bit of what we grew up with, and that's how, you know, we make relationships. You know, when we break bread, you know, we talk to each other, we tell stories, we familiarize each other with what our culture is, and that's what the cheese brings out in us. The cheese is phenomenal, it's flavorful, it's amazing, and it tells a story.
And if you were not on the judging side of the table, but the chef side of the table competing, would you have a preference for being in the appetizer, entree, or dessert category?
Honestly, I don't know. After looking at these competitors, it would have to be a toss-up, but for me, I probably would want to say the entree category.
The entree.
Because I would love to highlight the cheeses and showcase what I can do. And for me, I probably would do a duet, something warm, something cold, that way I can showcase a highlight of, hey, this is a cold dish and this is a hot dish, and then try to marry both.
All right. Well, this is all about a marriage,
Yeah,
right?
it's like-
And I'm going to get to our third judge. If you can hand the microphone down to our third judge,
Hi there.
Barbara Alexander. Hi, Barbara. And you have Barbara's worked as a professional chef for more than 30 years, ran Michelin-level restaurants around the world before becoming a culinary director and an instructor here at the CIA. So you come from the education side of things, right, Barbara? Yep. And what would you say about educating not only food service and chefs, but also ultimately consumers about these styles of California cheeses?
Sure. Well, I think, you know, a lot of the ideas we get as consumers start when we go to a restaurant and we try something new. So I think that in many ways, you know, when in any kind of an interesting ingredient, let's take a tomatillo, for instance. A lot of people that grew up here may not know what a tomatillo is until they try a green salsa and they say, oh, I really love the flavor of this. What is it? Is that a green tomato? No, it's not, and so on. And so I think with the cheeses, we're really going down that avenue now. When I first moved to California 20 years ago, I knew 2 or 3 Mexican cheeses. Now, I mean, I work with the Cmab a lot, but even if I didn't, you would be seeing a lot of Mexican cheeses coming into the restaurants. So we are hearing words like panela, we're hearing words like menonita, and I think it's really kind of exciting. Now, most people know fresco and cotija these days, but now we have an opportunity to introduce the general public, not only food service workers, to these other great Mexican cheeses.
All right, well, I think we've got chefs ready to go. I
Yes,
see dishes
great.
prepared over there. All right, we're going to invite the chefs up to talk about their dishes and to present them to the judges. So I'll get out of the way. Do we have a microphone for our chefs right there? We'll use this one. Okay, beautiful. All right.
That was my fault.
Here. All right, here we go. Chef Marco, you go first because you put yours down.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about that beautiful dish.
This is flan de cornbread kind of infusion. I love flan, I love cornbread, so I kind of mix them together. I did also queso fresco ice cream and a salted caramel with orange zester on top with a little bit of spices. But that's it, something simple.
And looks quite indulgent and delicious, I have
Thank you.
to say.
What's up? The sauce is caramel. It's caramel with orange, and it has a little bit of allspice a little bit, just a touch, just to give it a little
Just
bit
a
different.
touch. All right, and Chef Manny, what have we got for the judges?
So we have a play on the Carlota de Limon, very traditional dish, north of Mexico. That's where I've seen it the most. I may be wrong in the south part. It's got has galleta Maria, which is a Mexican vanilla wafer, and the plate that I made on that was layered with requesón cheese turned into mascarpone by adding more fat on it, and the condensed milk and lime mix, which is a traditional one in the Carlota. I added coffee to it, so I would say it's a hybrid between a Carlota de Limon and a tiramisu.
Ah, fantastic. More blending of cultures and cuisines, right?
Yes.
All right, well, we're going to let the judges get to work here, delicious work they have to do. Thank the chefs. We'll be back to you in just a moment. Tough job, but somebody's got to do it. And I'm going to head over here because we're going to get a taste test in. We're going to actually let Katie do a nice taste test. I'd like to introduce my guest here, which is Jennifer Jambroni. You've got a microphone right there, Jen.
Don't ever give me a microphone.
Don't ever. She is the Chief Dairy Diva of the Cmab. In other words, the Vice President of Communications, right? So you get to talk about these cheeses a lot. And I'm going to have a little seat here while I saddle up to Katie. All right, and we've got Katie Cameron, who also works at the Cmab in food service business development. So you know what's coming in on the restaurant and the chef side of things, right?
That's right.
All right, and you get the job today of actually digging in and describing these while Jen and I talk about this category. So I'm going to let you to it. All right, start with Chef Marco's dish. All right, and Jen, when you see this, what does this represent to you? The fact that we could take this category of cheeses and do everything from appetizers to desserts.
This really is the representation of the diversity of these ingredients, right? It's taking them, from when you sit down at the table to the very end with that little sweet treat at the end, and being able to utilize the full diversity of their flavors and take on the other flavors. I mean, this is a really exciting dish because there's so much dairy in it. I mean, you've got this beautiful cake that's made with dairy. You've got a cheese ice cream come on, and then caramel, which, butter, all kinds of deliciousness there. But I think the proof is in the taste, Katie. So what do you think?
Oh, thank you. It's delicious. The corn in the base and the ice cream, which is not super sweet, is delicious, and everything's better with caramel. So.
That's right. Well, and it's a little bit of the balance of you've got tang, you've got brightness and freshness, and then you've got richness.
That's exactly
as
right.
Well.
Yes.
I can't wait to dig into this one. I'll be honest with you. It's hard to eat and talk at the same time, so I'm going to wait on that one so I'm not covered in ice cream. And
I know. Well, and it's like, there's whole milk, there's cream, there's queso fresco, there's butter, there's evaporated milk. If anything defines dairy for us in California, that's really that on a plate. It's really beautiful, and it's a really beautiful presentation too. It's not what you would think of as a traditional dessert that you would get in a restaurant. It's like a cheese ice cream. Wait a minute, a corn cake. That lighter flavor, less sweet flavor as well, which really appeals to a lot of palates.
And in terms of food service, how important is that to Cmab?
Immensely important. Obviously, the food service category, it's a third of our business. It's really high volume for us. You can't really do food service without dairy, and real dairy we know brings a lot of flavor to the plate. But for Hispanic dairy, because we produce more of it in the United States than anyone else, this is a category that's really, really important to us. So being able to showcase that this is more than just a little crumble of cotija on a dish.
Right, which is what I think consumers are familiar with. Maybe if they know anything, it would be that, right?
Right.
So,
They may know cotija, they may see panela, maybe Oaxaca or queso fresco, but it's really, in their mind, it is a little bit more of a sprinkle versus this is fully incorporated as an ingredient in this dish, whether it's the cake, it's the ice cream, or some of the previous dishes that we did with our appetizers and our entrees, where it's either a starring role as protein on the plate. That's a really exciting element. As people, eat more plant forward, they are still looking for that protein element, and dairy is a really essential element there.
And before we get to Chef Manny's, I know we're ready to dig in. Katie, we might put you to work on that one. This is really representing kind of the present and the future of this category. Talk about how you see the importance of that emerging. I mean, not just in Mexican cuisines, right?
Yeah, I mean, these ingredients, obviously, they're a natural with Mexican cuisine. I mean, that's what they were inspired by. They're inspired by the cheeses that were, get it a little closer in there. Yeah, don't make her work for it. They're inspired by the cheeses made in Mexico and Central America, you know, and those flavors. And what the chefs, I mean, one of the things I loved about both of our dessert chefs is these are ingredients they grew up with, but now they're taking them and they're using them in a new way and really showing consumers how to use them in a new way as well. And that really is the future for us. That's why CalMex as a category is so exciting to us, is because as we look to define that more and have consumers looking for it more, it really does evolve their idea of where these ingredients can go.
And Katie, thoughts on this one? Because Chef Manny was saying, to your point and to Bob's point, it really is, and to the judges' points, it really is about taking and incorporating so many different flavors and cuisines and cultures into it. So Chef Manny said this has got a little more like a cross with the tiramisu, right?
Sure, I was going to say, it's very,
here we go.
Thank you. It's quite a journey. Yes, I was going to say tiramisu, very much so. Little hint of coffee, very fresh, and not as sweet, which is great for me. And the little crunch on the top with the cookie. I love it.
It's nice that the cheese, tempers the sweetness.
Yes.
And you're not just getting an overwhelming, hit of sweetness on it. Yeah. Good one too. That one looks good.
Yeah, you can dig back in there. Yeah, I was going to say. Well, and I love the layers. I mean, the layers of color there. I mean, the presentation for both of these, I think, is really beautiful. You know, and there's layers here where you can see it, and you can think about like, oh, there's a coffee element. You've got that crunch. You've got a little citrus there, which is really, really nice. And it's like condensed milk. It's requesón again, cream cheese. Just all these creamy flavors. But that citrus, I'm sure, probably lightens it up and makes it, cuts through some of that creaminess too.
Right. And the thing about introducing these cheeses and working with the chefs like you're doing now is to bring the attention to consumers ultimately, right? And have them request the cheeses and be more familiar. It's really a piece of education that we're talking about.
100%. I mean, both on the food service side too. So for someone who maybe isn't working with Latin flavors and this isn't a natural for them, getting them really to fully understand the diversity and be able to incorporate it into every kind of dish, really. And then, of course, for the consumer to taste it. That's really where we kind of take those ideas back into the kitchen. You go to a restaurant, you try something, and you're like, I really want to try and recreate that at home. Or that's a really intriguing ingredient. What else can I do with that? Right. And we do want it to be, obviously it adds a lot of authentic flavors to Mexican food, and we never want to diminish that. But we also want to be able to say, you can use these beyond and in place of other, maybe other cheeses or other ingredients that you were using before.
And in general, stepping outside of this, category of CalMex, in general, what does the CMAB do for overall education, not only in the food service sector, but also, gearing towards what consumers want?
Well, I mean, we represent, of course, California's dairy farm families. We have 1,100 family dairy farms in California, and so we want people, obviously, to buy products with the Real California Milk Seal. It means it's made with their milk, and so that is about education.
It's like,
really exactly.
Show that
seal for sure. And what does that mean? That means family farms. It means sustainably sourced. California leads the nation in dairy sustainability. We're a very progressive area, and we have policies in place that mean our dairies have to work really hard on that. And they're, improving every single day, every single year. They're farmers, that's what they do.
Right.
And they make this incredible product milk that goes into so many of the products we love. And the cool thing about dairy is it's both a thing you eat, you drink milk, you eat cheese, but it's also an amazing ingredient. And so educating about use of dairy is an important part of what we do for the consumer side and food service side. So we have recipes. We do, tasting events. We do, experiential events where people have an opportunity to try new products. We have a ton of ideas on our website and on our social channels. And then, of course, on the food service side, it's about culinary education. It's about working with amazing chefs, like the chefs that we selected here today.
The chefs were fantastic.
Yeah, they were amazing.
That's right.
We bring chefs actually into CIA from around the world as well to come be educated on our products, cook in this kitchen, innovate around these products themselves, bringing their own flavors as well, which is really, really exciting. And then, of course, we're looking at the next generation, the next generation of chefs coming in and having them become
Some
comfortable.
of these guys are on the cutting edge. As we said, Chef Manny, with emerging chef, James Beard, semi-finalist.
And they're inspiring other chefs too.
Right.
Yeah, and they're working, of course, with high school students and college students who are just coming into the culinary world and getting them excited about cooking and really interpreting their craft on the plate. And we want California Dairy to be central to that. So
of course.
we want to be there, helping them, educating them, providing support to them, and opportunities like this to work
Shepherding
together.
the next
Absolutely.
generation. All
Yep.
right. So I think the judges are narrowing in on their
I don't know. They look like
dessert
they're just digging in for dessert.
I think they're just enjoying it, frankly. I think they're just enjoying it now at this point. But all right, while they're finishing up, I'm going to turn to you, Katie, because you were the taster on appetizers, entrees, and desserts. Did you have a favorite? You can tell it. You can whisper it in my ear. Did you have a favorite category? I'm not going to ask you a favorite dish.
My favorite category, I think this might be it.
The fan favorite, desserts.
I think so. But they were all fantastic. Just again, showing the versatility of Hispanic style cheeses. I think they were all bright, light, fresh, and again, just so much dairy used in the dishes. So as a food service person, it's exciting for me to be able to go back and talk to chefs, distributors, operators about the plethora of things that they can do with Hispanic style cheeses.
About not only diversity, availability, affordability, all those pieces of the puzzle.
Yes, yeah, and we have, correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, over 25 varieties of Hispanic cheeses that we make here in California.
So that's a lot. That's a lot to
today,
choose from.
but-
All right. Well, I think we have a winner. All right. So I'm going to head over. I'm going to grab this in case I need that. We're going to head over here. All right. We'll bring the chefs up, and we're going to bring Bob Carroll up again to award. But in the meantime, Bob, actually, I'm going to take that away from you.
Sorry, Bob.
And I'm going to ask our judges to just give us a high level, without talking in specifics about each of the dishes too much to give away the winners. Give a high level of what you think of these desserts. Claudette?
I think they're incredibly thoughtful and the innovation in them. I can see the thought process behind it. Again, talking about how Mexican food has transitioned through migration periods through our country. Maximilian and Carlota were officially the prime ministers of France in Mexico. So that's the name of this dish, of the dessert. The coffee, it's interesting. I didn't expect it. I didn't know what it was going to taste like. When you told me, I was like, but it works. I can see where the inspiration there is. On this, one of my favorite ice creams in the world is queso cotija in Oaxaca. So this gave me that sense of nostalgia, the chewiness of the queso fresco. And who doesn't love cornbread or corn cake? So kudos to both of you.
Both the chefs were hoping to bring up some memories and to.
It hit on both.
All right, and Ben?
Yeah, the nostalgia aspect of it was very high. Just overall say good job, gentlemen. The flavor profiles were pretty good. For me, it was the use of the cheese and the products and the ingredients was phenomenal. You took a raw item and you turned it into something amazing, and that's in itself a massive win. Picking up all the tones from both dishes, it was just kind of, it was a nice breath of fresh air.
All right, and dessert. The
Awesome job, great job, and great tackling a category that's a little bit difficult with cheese, and easy with dairy, a little bit more difficult with cheese. I would say, I'm the bad cop, so I would say with my educator's hat on, don't forget the Cal part of CalMex. So there's so many opportunities in a dessert dish to use California produce, fruit. So many fruits grown here, so many nuts grown here. So don't miss that opportunity to both of you, actually, to use Yeah, and it's like we're right in the prime stone fruit season. So don't miss an opportunity when you can take one. So cherries, fresh strawberries, California walnuts, California almonds. I could go on for days. We're living in the breadbasket, right? But really nice. I had a hard time deciding on these. This was my hardest category. I thought they were both very good.
That, we're going to hand the microphone back to Bob. There we go. And announce the winner.
Great. Well, on behalf of the California Milk Advisory Board and California's dairy families, I'm pleased to announce the winner of the dessert category of the 2022 CalMex Invitational.
Oh, there we go.
And it is Marco Collin. Congratulations. Marco, we're very happy to present you with this $5,000 check.
Thanks, guys.
Woo!
Really happy.
Really? Okay, I'm gonna talk to both of you over here in just a moment, but I'm gonna hand this back. Now just give me one quick hit on why that dish won. Why Chef Marco's dish won.
I call myself a reformed pastry chef. As a reformed pastry chef, it is very much like a signature dessert that I had many, many moons ago, with the ice cream and the texture. Big on texture. That queso fresco, I didn't expect it, and it was exactly what I wanted. I didn't know I wanted.
For me, it was definitely the ice cream. Just, again, the creaminess, texture of it. One thing that Claudette brought up, and I was kind of on the cusp, and I'll be honest with you for this, I was like, there's little bits of chunks in there, but I didn't mind that. As soon as I bit into that, it turned straight into cream again, right as I was eating the ice cream. So it was, again, the texture thing. You're playing on something soft with ice cream, but when you have those little chunks in there, it still has that same phenomenal flavor, and then you just kind of coats your palate. And for me, I was like, not sure if that was a happy mistake, but or if it was intentional, but that was one of the key aspects. And gentlemen, it was very difficult. Gotta tell you that, very difficult.
All right, Barbara, you said this was the hardest category for you to judge.
I still have very little to say here because I thought they were both really good. I think if I had to narrow it down to one thing that made me judge you maybe a point higher than the other dessert was the orange. It's Californian. So I think that would probably be it, but it was very good, yeah.
Woo! All right, chefs, come on over with me. Yeah, I'll grab that microphone. Come on over with me, and let's talk to you a little bit. All right, come on over right here, both of you. That's right, and I'm going to start, Chef Manny, with you. In terms of, you're both winners, of course. Did you have a good time at this competition, and was it what you expected in terms of being able to innovate something new?
Absolutely. This is the first time that I'm participating in anything like this, so I didn't know what to expect. But as opposed to what some people may think that there's competition, there was no such thing because we were just talking to each other all throughout the process. Like, you should do this, you should do that. Like, oh my God, can I use some? Like, we were just like working together and then just let the food talk for itself. Right. And whatever happens. We're gonna walk out of here like knowing each other, knowing how we work, and hopefully one day our paths will cross in the future and we will get to work together.
A real sense of camaraderie. And I think with both of you, you mentioned how you use these cheeses already in your cooking. Will you use them more?
Yes, yeah, it definitely opened my eyes in using cheese as a dessert because, like the judges mentioned, there was something so out of the box for me particularly. I'm not somebody that focuses a lot on desserts, but it just pushes the limits and like what can I do? And in my case, something that I've never done before. Now the ice cream that chef made over here was fantastic. So like, that's a great idea.
He's gonna take that. All right, I'm gonna have you hand the microphone. You've got a big check and a microphone now, Chef Marco. How does it feel? Good.
It's great. It feels amazing to be here, be part of this amazing program that you guys are doing here, and thanks to everybody. Thanks to you guys, thanks to Andrew. I mean, I could keep on going on thanking everybody. I just had the best time of my life. I've never been to Napa. It's beautiful. Met great people, met chef. Like, I think we just became best friends. It's just an amazing, cool experience that it's pretty unique. And
So what are you going to do with the money? That's the big question, right? Going to Disneyland?
so we have a thing. Me and him yesterday we said winner buys beers tonight.
There you go.
So
All
I
right.
guess I'm the one buying the first round of beers.
I think you're buying more than the first round. All right, thank you, chefs. We really appreciate it.
you so much.
Thank you.
All right, there you guys have it. We are at the end of our competitions today. We have to congratulate again. Let's get a round of applause for both Manny and Marco. And we are ready to conclude the inaugural CalMex Invitational. Across the 3 categories, we've discovered not only 6 new innovative dishes, which showcase the best of California ingredients and Mexican cuisines, but we've introduced a lot of people to one another, right? So a lot will come from that. For more information on all the award-winning dishes and to rewatch today's 3 broadcasts, please visit realcaliforniamilk.com/foodservice. This is Leslie Sabraco from the CIA Copia Kitchens in Napa, California. A special thank you to the California Milk Advisory Board and California's dairy families for making all of this possible. And thank you for watching, and we hopefully will see you all next year.